Unsolved.
Zodiac Killer Case, Cecelia and Shepard. This episode briefly focuses on Cecelia and if there was a connection, if she knew the Zodiac Killer, or maybe the Zodiac Killer knew of her when she lived in Riverside. And Arlington is kind of a section of Riverside. It's to the west. Okay, right there in the center of the screen where the pen drop is, that's where Cecelia Shepard lived as a teenager. Okay? Her parents lived right there when she died. So we're going to do a little flying around. So as we travel north here, we go this way towards San Bernardino, and right where it says Paris Hill Park, that's where Pacific High School was, right below that. And that's where Michael Z graduated in 1965. And Cecelia Shepard, she graduated in 1965 also, but not here, because she went to a private religious school more in the direction of Los Angeles. That's where they were from. Not Los Angeles, but in that suburb area. Okay, now going back towards her house again in Loma Linda. Okay, now we're going to travel to Riverside, RCC. And so we head over this way here, get on this freeway, the 215, or the 395 is what it used to be. And you head down this way. Actually, I take that back. And you come down here. And wait for the screen to... There we go. And there's downtown Riverside. And then below that is RCC, or the Terracina Drive. Okay? And then you can see Magnolia Avenue. Okay, so from Loma Linda to RCC is about 20 minutes. Okay, and then you go down Magnolia Avenue and keep following it down this way, and then it kind of has a little bend there, turn, and it heads this way. And then we come up to Ramona High School, right there where that little football field is in the center of the screen. Okay, and then north of that, to the left a little bit, northwest, it says Via San Jose. That's where Cheri Jo Bates lived. Okay, and then as we follow down Magnolia, we keep going this way, and it says Arlington. We go past that. Arlington is like a part of Riverside. Okay, and then you keep going down Magnolia to La Sierra. And then over here is where Cecelia Shepard went to college, her first 2 years, right there, to the left of the screen, where the football field is, and the little graduation cap is, to the left. Okay, here I found this on IMDb, because they put little biographical information about anybody that's in a movie or a documentary or something. And so we'll take this for what it's worth. Now on the 5th item down, it says in 1966, Cecelia Shepard and Cheri Jo Bates used to occasionally frequent a Riverside, California eatery called Sorrento Italian Restaurant. So I don't know if that's true or not, or where that information's coming from, but it's significant if they knew each other. But they wouldn't have to know each other for the Zodiac to kill them at separate times. The significance is, did the Zodiac Killer live in Riverside and or San Bernardino in the years 1966 and 1967, and then move to Northern California, possibly in Vallejo? Now that we did the flyover, now this information might be a little more clear. So Cecelia Shepard's first year at college was 1965-66. Okay, and then her second year at college was 1966 to 1967. In that school year, the Zodiac Killer, an older, heavy-set, bearded gentleman, drew an interest in Cheri Jo Bates, and he went by her house and stalked her. And on that Sunday night, October 30th, he witnessed Cheri Jo Bates get into her VW Bug, and he followed her. And he followed her all the way to RCC and where she parked. And then he left, thought about what he wanted to do, and then he returned, let's say around 7:30, and disconnected the wires on her car, went into the library and sat and watched her until she left. And then she came out. And then he came out and he killed her. Okay, then Cecelia Shepard moved to Northern California and attended college in Napa County. And that was her third year of college. And that's where she met Brian Hartnell. And then her fourth year of college, the Zodiac Killer shot and killed Betty and David on December 20th, 1968. And that's because he might have been an employee with the school district, say a bus driver, and he moved to Vallejo or near Vallejo because he lost his job in Riverside and he found a job in Vallejo, California. And he drew an interest in Betty Lou Jensen, and he started stalking her. And he was outside of her house the night she left, or when David picked her up from her house. And he followed them. And he followed them out to the turnout on Lake Herman Road, and then went home and planned out his attack, or what he was going to do. And then he returned at around 11:20 and killed them. And then Cecelia Shepard returned home to Loma Linda for the summer. And that's when the Zodiac Killer took an interest in Darlene Ferrin, and he began to stalk her. And on July 4th, 1969, he followed her to Michael's house. And he saw Michael get in the car. And he followed them to Blue Rock Springs Park, drove away, and returned shortly and shot both of them, killing Darlene. Then Cecelia Shepard returned to college to collect her belongings and move them because she was going to graduate school in Riverside. Unbeknownst to her, the Zodiac Killer learned that she was going to college there and thought to himself,
I know her from Riverside.
And the Zodiac Killer planned something special for her. And so he spied on her at her residence at the college, at Pacific Union College. And Brian Hartnell showed up, and she got in his car, and he followed them all the way up to Lake Berryessa. And they parked, and he drove on, and he went back to his place, got his stuff, got his executioner's hood, and returned 3 hours later, and they were still there. And he went out, tied them up, and stabbed them, killing Cecelia Shepard.
You have been watching a Nancy Drew show. Please subscribe if you like the show.
Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved. And next weekend, in the John Bonet case, I'm going to look at photographer Randy Simmons. And in the Zodiac Killer case, I'm going to present a new suspect that matches or follows along with this video. So I'll see you then.